from the City of Angels. It's Thursday night. Box office preview show underway.
Take your baby by the hand. Make her do
Wang
a
Chung.
handstand.
Dance Hall Days.
And take
Throwing
your
it back to
baby
1984
by the
tonight.
heel.
Because this is a song that is featured prominently in The Life of Chuck, tonight's MMT evaluation.
And I dance all
We don't do it edited
we
style.
were good on
We shoot from the hip directly from the theater, baby.
you and everyone we knew.
I really loved this track when I was a kid. Gen X, like just formative shit right here, right?
Dance all day
Love
long.
it. All right, guys, bring your comments in. Did you see this film? I know it's limited this week in New York, LA, maybe a few other markets. It's Neon. This is a film that won the People's Choice Award at Toronto Film Festival last year. And Neon decided to bring it out now. They waited. It's very unusual. Usually you want to carry that momentum into award season because typically the People's Choice Award at Toronto wins. Well, okay, it at least gets a nomination for Best Picture. So that's one of the interesting questions tonight. Can this film do that? Is it strong enough? Let's get ready as I bring Wang Chung down and I bring me up here on this Thursday night. Thanks for being here, MMT. If you've never been here, welcome to Midnight Movie Talk. We always do things live. I try to get to as many comments as possible before we're out of here. Thursday night, typically we go an hour. I might go a little shorter tonight because it's a little bit late here in LA. Had to go catch a later showtime of this film. But either way, we're going to plan to this hour. We're going to do the MMT evaluation of The Life of Chuck. That is momentarily. Then we're going to break down box office prospects for Ballerina. We talked about that film last night, MMT evaluation, and I'll give you my number. Projector, we're always good. I mean, typically we're dead on. So if I say this is what it's going to do, there's a good chance it will, because why? We are, as always, you guys should know this by now, the gold standard when it comes to film journalism, that's for sure. No one even coming close. We're also going to watch the Wicked for Good, Wicked 2 trailer. I have not seen it until, well, I'm about ready to watch it with you. I liked the first film, so I imagine that I will probably dig the trailer. We'll do that momentarily, but let's do this right now on this Thursday night live. It is time for the MMT evaluation of The Life of Chuck as we bring up Tom Hiddleston and we get a taste of the film from Mike Flanagan, adapted from a Stephen King short. This is the MMT evaluation of The Life of Chuck.
The universe is large and it contains multitudes, but it also contains me. And in this moment, I am wonderful.
Here we go. Life of Chuck. You can tell from the trailer, it is a very uplifting film. Well, I mean, let's say this. This is a film that has a good heart. And I think that's important. You know, a lot of times when we watch films, especially from Hollywood, we get stuff that is kind of soul draining, right? I always talk about having a human element, a humanity laden film. And I think this film is that, okay? So that's always something that I'm going to gravitate towards. And in the theater tonight, I enjoyed the overall feel of this film. It's a flawed film, okay? Not any question about that. And then we saw one of the, of course, giant pull quotes from early on out of Toronto. A masterpiece. This is anything but a masterpiece. But it is, again, at its core, a very life-based, positive, humanity-driven film. And that is good, okay? That's obviously a positive for me. That's where I like to be. And we don't get there enough. And I talk about the film that we wrote, same thing, right? It's always got to be grounded in humanity. And this film is very much that. Now, it plays like a version of the Wonder Years. Remember that show? I mean, Flanagan's a Gen Xer, I'm a Gen Xer. Of course, the narration, you've got that here. You've got going back in time. This is told in 3 acts going backward, right? Act 3, 2, and 1 in the life of Tom Hiddleston. I don't want to give away too much of this, but it's very ambitious, okay? And I think that at times it tries too hard to be this comfort food, right? And the problem with comfort food is it is comforting. It makes you feel good. But when you peel back the layers and you start to really look at the ingredients, often you say, this isn't quite as great as I'm making it be in my mind. And I think that's the danger with this film. If you allow it to kind of manipulate you, you might end up somewhere where I don't think the film gets to, okay? I don't believe it earns it, right? We talk about that a lot. You have to earn it. This film does not earn that. It comes close. I think it's tangential to earning something, but it is a very ambitious film and a story that is a short story from King, adapted again by Flanagan, and he's worked with King material with Dr. Sleep, and I think he's doing the Amazon adaptation of The Two Towers or The Dark Tower, whatever the hell that thing is, right? You know, the Stephen King thing. So he's familiar with King's work, and he knows how to shape it. But again, if the story is flawed and it's not as perfectly assembled as it needs to be, it feels like there are moments here that have just that spark of greatness, but doesn't quite envelop everything. And the best films are able to do that. You start with and you build, and then it all kind of wraps, and then you end up with this full, complete, great film. And here we only get kind of bits and pieces. I think Act 2 is the weakest here. You have Hiddleston doing his dance that seems like an hour. I mean, it's way too long. And that really feels forced, right? When you're forcing emotions, you get into that schmaltzy territory, right? Where you're not really in that grounded, I feel like everything that I'm watching is real and it's not elevated, trying to manipulate you. And Flanagan tries to here. I don't think it gets out of control where you're rolling your eyes around going, I can't. I've seen plenty of films like that just do too much. I mean, we talked about that Kirk Cameron, faith-based, fireproof. You talk about a film that is trying too hard. Watch that sometime. That's not what we have here, and this is not really a faith-based film. I like the ideas here, right? The ideas that the entire universe is in your mind. And we've seen that explored in other films, but that whole concept of everything that you consume becomes part of you and becomes part of the world that you build inside of your own mind. So that very much is the core of this and how the memories shape who you are. But again, everything I'm saying sounds like grandiose, and my God, this has to be, as you saw in the quote, a masterpiece. And the problem is it doesn't get there, even though what I'm talking about sounds like something that should, because of that level of difficulty here. It doesn't manage to reach that. And I think, listen, no fault to Flanagan. I think he tries his best here. The film's assembled nicely enough. I don't think it's very spectacular to look at. Very, just basic in its approach of filmmaking. But overall, it's a film that just comes up short in what it's really trying to do. But you will experience moments that you are like, here we are. We're almost over the hump. Let's do, and it just can't quite do it. But I think the end's got a nice finish. It's got a really, I think, poignant note at the end that sort of works. And I think that's kind of the takeaway here, is you see an 80% of B-. It just sort of works. And more yes than no, but there's just not enough to push it to the level of this is anywhere near a masterpiece. If it was pulled off to perfection and the script was literally a gem and everything just flowed and it managed to get these concepts to that elite level, then we would be talking about a masterpiece. But whoever issued that quote clearly wanted to be on a poster out of Toronto. We talk about this quite often. When these films debut out of Toronto, at a Telluride, at Cannes, wherever it may be, whatever festival you choose, Venice, you have a bunch of journalists, and now we have, as you guys know, influencers in the space. And they want nothing more than to be part of the Hollywood system of being on a poster, of being quoted on an FYC box, as you see behind me. And a reminder that pays you nothing. But if your ego is driven by that, then that's what you're going to try to do, because that first screening is where they're going to scoop out the one or two or three or more quotes, as you saw in the trailer, that they're going to use for the campaign when the film finally drops. And you say, oh my God, look, there's my name. And that shouldn't ever be a reason that you are doing this. But if you are kidding yourself, pretending that that's not what drives a lot of people in this space, to just issue some gigantic hyperbolic quote that is, oh my God, the best movie ever, must see, masterpiece, these are always going to get scraped and used by the studio. And that's what happened here with this film. Someone asked me on Twitter, before I get to some comments here, a couple of you, if you had a chance to see it, they said, do you see this as a best picture? I don't think it has the strength, even though it won last year. Remember, last year was a very weak year in film. I mean, when you have Anora winning best picture, you're talking about one of the worst years ever in cinema. And we had a few bright spots as we, go back and watch my best of 2024. There's not a lot to pick from. So when you win the People's Choice at Toronto in a bad year, that explains even more when you look at this film, Life of Chuck, how last year was one of the most underwhelming years ever for film. And remember, we're one of the only listen, how many people were ahead of the curve on Anora? I was the only one. I took so many bullets. Not that I give a shit. You know how many bullets I had to take from everyone? What are you talking about? This film? Now go look at the Anora discourse. What's happening? We are always over the target. Whether you like it or not, learn to live with it. It's the best thing going today. No one does it better than us. It's not even a contest. There's not a second place. Okay? Sorry. It just is what it is. And I think when you look at this winning last year, yeah, it makes sense. It all fits together now that I finally got a chance to see it. As for why they pushed it into 2025, I think you look at Neon, who picked this film up, and it's very clear that they wanted it all to be about Anora. They didn't even want anything else in the conversation from their studio, really. They had some international feature stuff, but really, when a studio, an A24, a Neon, for the smaller side, and then a Universal, Warner Bros., you really want to focus in on one film. right, that is the one that you think has the best chance to win for whatever reason. Don't even make me even try to conceptualize the fact that Anora won Best Picture. It's the worst Best Picture in the history of the Oscars. It's not a contest. But when you look at a studio like Neon, listen, they only have so many resources. They pumped $20 million into Anora's Best Picture campaign. So when you talk about not wanting to break that attention, everything that you have, that gold mine, you're going to put your entire war chest into Anora. You don't want to waste any time with anything else. So I think this year Neon has this. I'm sure they'll have something else in the fall that's big. It's eluding me right now, but we'll get to it, trust me, over the next several months. And then they can figure out which is the one. This is not going to be it, okay? But you can do worse. I'd rather watch this film than Ballerina, right? We just came out of Ballerina last night. This is a better film. This is what I want to watch. It's quiet, spiritual, without being faith-based. And it just, again, has that kind of ethereal quality that I love. I mean, listen, guys, as much as you guys think I bash stuff and hammer things, if you watch this channel enough, you know that when I see something that is typically grounded in humanity, with characters struggling or dealing with something they have to overcome, this is all stuff I love, right? That's what I want to watch. So listen, I'm different than everyone else. I'm just built different. We're all different. But I was built to do what we're doing here tonight. That's how, and you can see, I mean, we're doing this live, been going 16 minutes. No one, and I do mean this, no one could do what I just did for 16 minutes. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. But I know that. And that's the beauty of why this channel exists, is that you have to find in life whatever that is that you think you do well, and then bring it. And I think that's what we've done here. And regardless of the views and the likes, and who gives a shit? At the end of the day, we're the best. I know that. It's not a contest. So that's awesome. Couple comments here, and we will get on. Yeah, Robert, I think that's what we're talking about. I think throughout the film, you kind of feel like it should be leading up to that gut punch, but I think the way the story's written, it kind of, right, has more of an uplifting finish, even though it isn't an uplifting finish, right? If you've seen the film, listen, have I given the film away? No, Robert, you saw it. A couple of you here, LA, New York. The rest of you will get it nationwide next week. When you see it, I didn't give anything away. Literally nothing, because I don't think that's fair to a film like this, because if we start breaking things down, when I'm talking about a Ballerina last night, I can tell you everything that happened. Who cares? I mean, what are we talking about? Another revenge gun thriller. I mean, just bloodfest. Why? Who cares? With this film, it really is all about the story, and I think the way it's told. I kind of like that Act 3, 2, 1 situation where I have to be locked in, right? But not enough where I don't think, and I talked, Rachel was tweeting me, and I know Rachel watches the channel, Rachel Reviews. She said she didn't get it. I got it. I understand it, right? The whole thing really is taking place in his mind, okay, without giving it away. And you'll see that very early. It's right there. And, yes and no to that, right? To do that, again, we're talking about that high concept, that really ambitious screenplay. You have to really nail it. And it just doesn't. It just doesn't. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. So, and I think you're right. Awards Garage. I think that's fair. Early on, we know what's going to happen, and we know what the finish is going to be. And I think that that's an issue. No question about that. I don't mind in that I don't need to, at the end, have this aha moment, right? I mean, that's not bad. I'm not saying I don't like that. What I'm telling you is that as someone who's watched thousands of films and how many hours I've spent in a movie theater, I don't always have to have that. But I think that we could go in and rearrange and clean up, and I think it just needs another write through, and I would get rid of a couple of things. The narration at times is a little goofy with Nick Offerman. I don't know. It just leans a little too hard with cursing and stuff. And listen, I'm not saying don't have an F-bomb. I just think it tries hard, right? It's like, it was a really shitty day, instead of just saying it was a bad day. He's leaning into the narration. Of course, that's the dialogue, that's written in the script for him to say is the narration. But the way it's delivered, it just feels like I'm trying to make you laugh here rather than just organically having it happen. And again, these things are not easy to do, right? I think we've talked about this with directors. They speak to the magic of making a film. It doesn't always come together. And when it doesn't always come together, then that's disappointing. But on a film like this, it's understandable because you're trying to do something that's much more difficult than Ballerina, where you're trying to figure out the choreography for a flamethrower fight at the finale. I mean, what are we talking about, right? I mean, other than just the way, who's going to move this way with the flamethrower so we don't burn anybody, if it was even really a real flamethrower, it's probably all CGI, I forgot. But it'd be cool if they actually used flamethrowers, right? But, right, that whole thing versus, okay, I've got to execute this super ambitious story about the universe being in this dude's mind as he is not going to be on Earth much longer. That's a lot harder. That's a lot harder. Yeah, the drumming dancing was okay, Luis. I really wasn't that high on it. I don't like the look of the film. I think it looks very TV movie-esque. And, I have to go back and watch Dr. Sleep. It's been how many years? 2017? Was it 18 or 19? 19. It's been 5 years. It's funny. Sometimes you watch films and you forget pieces, no question. I mean, there's films definitely I'll never forget. You look at even last year, our number one film, Substance, go back to a film like Drive, Social Network, A Raging Bull, A Taxi Driver, whatever that is going back in time, when you remember, you can remember shots and all that stuff. For things like Dr. Sleep, there's a few things, but overall, I just got to go back. I mean, this film doesn't demand that direction, though. But, it's interesting and kind of fun to see a Mark Hamill show up here. And then, what's her name from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the girlfriend, she shows up and she's, Hamill's wife. Listen, again, I don't hate the film. I don't dislike the film. Yeah, I mean, again, I just, it's funny, Luis, as much as aspect ratio is cool, I'm more of an aesthetic film, right? The way that it looks, not aspect ratio, but more about the polish. And this film just feels very polished, right? It feels like they took a camera out and shot it outside in a mall, and they did. So I think that's my issue. I always defer to a film that looks like it was shot on film, okay? Go back and look at why did I love Hurry Up Tomorrow more than most? Because that's aesthetically a fucking lights out. That film aesthetically is the best film of the year. It's no contest, okay? Hurry Up Tomorrow is the best looking and directed film from a technical standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint of this year. There is no contest. I don't care what anyone tells you. I am right. And anyone who's watched that, who's a director, watch Hurry Up Tomorrow. Come on back. Hit me in the DMs like I always get. You were right about Hurry Up Tomorrow. Of course, I was right about Hurry Up Tomorrow. Well, exactly, Flanagan. He does. And you see that here. You see that without question in the film when you see everybody who's running through here, all of the 80s actors he's putting back to work. Okay, let's do a quick little check of the seats here on this Thursday. It's the MMT seat check. On Thursday, we like to look at the sales of films that are opening, and then I give you my prediction. And anybody in the comments who is a regular MMT viewer will tell you who's better than MMT when it comes to nailing these numbers. The answer is no one. But go ahead, put it in there so everyone who's new here is like, this guy talks, but no. We have receipts. All we have is receipts. That's all we do. Because we're objective and we don't have an agenda. And we can see these things. We're also pretty damn scary when it comes to predicting the future. Like Honora. I knew it was terrible. I told you guys it was terrible the night I walked out. I didn't need everybody to tell me after 6 months it was bad. I knew the second I watched it. You don't need to ruminate on this shit. It's right in front of you, man. All right, here's the 10:15 over in Century City. It's a pain in the ass to drive over to Century City. Last time I went there was for Mission Impossible 8. What a disappointing drive, movie, parking payment situation. Paid $14 to watch that film. God, I'll never forget that. I will bring up the $14 I spent to park to watch Mission Impossible 8 every other stream. At least that. Ballerina looks pretty good at 10:15. It's a 2-hour movie. Shouldn't be 2 hours. No way in hell should it be 2 hours and 6 minutes. But you can see it looks solid. It is LA, guys. Come on. I mean, it's always like this. Burbank, I'm sure, looks about the same. I'm going to take this lower than you think, though. You talk about a John Wick opening in the 70s, 80s. What was John Wick 5? Or 4, I should say. 4. That was one of the best action movies ever, as I proclaimed it. And People magazine took my quote, baby. baby. Oh, wow. That was exciting. That's on my wall. There's not a single quote I have anywhere here, okay? I don't need that to validate what I do. I'll validate myself, as you guys know. MMT projector here, 35 million. That's not great, but I think that's fair. I really do. I think that there's not a lot of interest in this film. This is a Thursday night audience at AMC here in Century City, and LA is the cinephile capital of the universe along with New York. So, of course, you're going to see a good crowd. When you start getting outside of the major cities, and even though this is not really, it's not a left coast, right, East Coast, West Coast kind of thing. No. It's everyone, but just who really wants to see this, right? You want to see Anna de Armas play John Wick. I mean, there's plenty of videos. I'm sure there's a million videos already there. Girl boss, awful. Is that what Film Threat said? It's the worst thing. It's not why it's bad. I mean, it's not a great movie. Just all dangerous animals, and I'm high in its direction. Oh, you know what's crazy, though? It looks super violent, Luis. I don't know about that one. I don't like torture. You know, sticking the girls in a shark tank and having them eaten. It's not like Saw, is it? Where the shark's biting off their legs and they're I don't know if I want to watch that. I don't know if I want to watch. Like, you know, I just told you guys I like humanity-laden films, and then I get stuck if it's really violent. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch something that makes me like, ugh. Let's see what else we have. Let's watch the Wicked trailer. There's that. I'll get to a couple more comments if I can, because I want to do as much as possible before I fall asleep. Tired again tonight, man. I'm telling you, tonight I was thinking to myself, do I have to? I'll do a quick stream. It's like it's live. The beauty of doing MMT, can I tell you guys this? The beauty of doing MMT is this. It's really simple. It's live. So when it's over, it's done. I don't have to think about it. I don't sit here and rehash the entire show. I just say it's done. Moving on. And I think that's the key. You know, so many people, I think, in this space spend all this time editing and all this. And I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm going to be, I've said this before. Not everyone can do this. Okay, there's no one else on the screen. Do you see anyone else? It's me. I have to talk and be cogent and have good points. I think everything was done here. I think that everything I said tonight's been solid. But I'm just saying, that's not easy. I didn't plan this out. I literally come out of the movie and I put a couple of things in. Let's go. Let's shoot. I like to just do it. But most people in the space can't. They can't. If they try to do this, it would be a train wreck. You guys don't understand. It would be like, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't, this, like that, right? That's the person. Because they can't. Because, listen, you either have it or you don't. Luckily we do. And that's why we're doing this. Do you think I would do this if I didn't think I was good at it? Like, you have to have some self-awareness of what you bring to the table. And I think a lot of people don't. And that's a problem in life, right? You have to know what you're good at and what you're bad at. You have to know these things. If you don't know those things, then you're going to be in trouble because someone's going to have to tell you. Well, nowadays we don't. But that's the thing, right? Know what you're good at and go do that. Don't let someone else control that. You control that. And that's what we did here. And we're doing it the way I want to do it, and I love it. That's the way it is. I mean, it's easy for me. I'm kind of lazy, except for the gym. Okay, except for the gym, Weber's kind of lazy, if you guys can believe it. Okay, let's do. I know that's really like total contradiction. You're like, what? Lazy guy goes to the gym 5 days a week. But so what? It's easy for me. Once you get on the hamster wheel, it's easy. Tonight's kit, by the way, is Stockport County. Do you guys like it? Brand new. It's got, look, you got a sponsor patch. We got the League One patch here with it together. When I'm telling, listen, guys, you don't understand. For anyone from England who's watching, you're like, holy shit, he has a League One patch. I don't play with my kits. My kits have to have all of the good stuff or I'm not going to wear them. I literally will not do it. I'm very anal about that. Don't anyone clip that shit and use it as something else. Like, and all I hear in that loop is, I'm very anal. I'm very anal. I'm very anal. Go ahead there. Oh, God, there's the clip right there. Here we go, guys. I almost said, speaking of, no, we're not. Here comes the MMT trailer reaction for Wicked for Good, Wicked Part 2. I've not watched this. We'll stop as needed. Here comes the MMT trailer reaction for Wicked for Good.
Elva Withrop, I know you're out here. Just come in before the monkeys spot you.
I like that long shot, the oneer, right? I think we look at Chu as a director, go back to number one. He is very talented. Okay, I've been a fan of John Chu. I've talked about this before, so this is not the first time we've discussed Gem and the Holograms. I know I'm the only person who has ever discussed Gem and the Holograms beyond its release in like 2016, 2017. But I can tell you this, that I was impressed with the direction of Gem and the Holograms. You see talent. And I saw it in Wicked. If you guys can't see it, I can't help you. It's right there. Okay, he got a DGA, did he not? I called that. You know, like, what, John? I called it. If you guys watch my evaluation, why do I always have to be in the right? Why do I always have to be ahead of the curve? Why do I always have to fight off the film Twitter people who have no clue what they're talking about? Literally, just none. And I have to be the guy, always. I love the throwback Universal picture. I think that's from the first one, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. But either way, right? That's the kind of touch you want. These are little things. Attention to detail, man.
This is between us, the wizard, and I.
The Wicked Witch can't elude us forever. Not with Prince Fiero and his squadron hot on her trail.
I'm kind of over Jonathan Bailey, though. We've talked about that. I'm not over him like I am Pedro Pascal. But it's like, enough of Jonathan Bailey. He's in everything. He's in Jurassic World. He's coming up with something. He's always in every other movie, this guy, all of a sudden. What happened? Why is all this be the same actor?
No good deed goes unpunished. That's my creed.
The wonderful Wizard of Oz. No one believed in you more than I did.
Alphaba. They're coming for you. I've heard it said that people.
Obviously, you see it like we saw last time, the production design, you've got the visual effects, all of that, a lock for Oscar. Here's the thing, as we continue here, we're about halfway through. You look at this film as the second part, right? The finale has a much better shot at winning Oscar's Best Picture for that very fact alone. We've seen that over and over. Now, you're going to say Dune 2. Why did that not? Because they messed up the release date. Dune 2 was early in the year. If they dropped Dune 2 in November of last year, like the last one, Dune 1 was October or November, right? If they would have done that with Dune 2, Dune 2 would have had a much better shot at winning Best Picture. I still think Dune is better than Dune 2, but it's all about recency bias.
People come into our lives for a reason. I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Think of what we could do together. Like a comet pulled from orbit.
Again, that November release date plays very well for the Academy for Oscars 2026 because, again, recency bias and the finale. This is a film that you better think about as a Best Picture winner. And I'm saying that here in early June.
As it passes the sun, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant war. Who can say?
Clear production design winner, right? Did it win last year? I don't remember. But this year, as a finale, given what I'm seeing, remember, production design, as I like to explain, is world building. For those of you who've never really explored production design, it's basically the design of the production, which is the world building. A movie like The Life of Chuck is never going to be considered for production design because it's very basic. There's no real world building, right? It's set in modern day or slash a little bit in the past, nothing major. When you look at production design, you're looking at either sci-fi, fantasy, or period piece because you have to recreate the world that that film inhabits. And obviously, you're seeing all of that right here.
Bring me the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West.
For a while there, I thought you changed.
I have changed.
It's
Yeah,
time.
I'm not really really sold on the animals. Remember that whole thing? I was like, yeah, that was an addition, right? I saw the play in Orlando when I was doing TV down there. And I really liked the play, but I feel like the first half of the play was stronger than the second. So we'll see what Chew does with the second. I mean, they always take a little liberty and can change some things as long as it keeps its core finish, doesn't pull a Disney and change something drastic and get everyone pissed off.
For both of us.
To fly!
Because I knew you.
You're the only friend I ever had.
Because I knew you. And I've had so many friends. I have been changed for good. But only one that mattered.
All right, there it is, guys. And then the flying broom. Okay, so here's the deal. I think that obviously you're talking about a film that'll be bigger than the first because any finale typically is, especially a year after, right? There's not that time problem where it's been too many years between 1 and 2 or the start and the finish, whatever it may be. You can't have too much time. And this is 1 year. And I think that's going to be to this film's benefit because people are still in the mindset of the world of Wicked. So when this comes out, it will do bigger numbers. This film didn't do as well overseas as a lot of films do. So we'll see what happens this time around with Wicked 2. Can it do better on the international cash? Because when you look at a Wicked box office, let me pull it up right here, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Most times, and we talk about this on Midnight Movie Money on Sunday morning, the former breaking box office. And you can see that typically you're looking for that 1-to-1 split minimum between domestic and international. Well, when you look here, you can see very clearly that we're 200 million essentially more on the domestic than international. So you're a 175 to 1 or something like that, right? So that is 1/8, whatever the ratio is. It's up there. You really want to see it evenly distributed. So you want to see 473, 480. And then you'd end up with a number that would be into the 900s. But because the international is only at 282, you are in the 7s. And I think that's what will be the challenge for this film. Can it build on the international audience for the finale? That's going to be the story of, does this film get to $1 billion? If it does, it likely will. If it does not, we're going to end up in the 8s. Okay? It's very simple. By the way, I'm doing this so far out. I just told you that this is a very serious contender for Best Picture. And I just told you the box office prospects, and we're here on June 5th. So remember, not only is MMT the best and we're the gold standard, we also are way ahead of everyone else. Like, there's other channels that I know for sure have watched and then take versions of what I say and spin it because they couldn't imagine having an original thought of their own. They're not talented. This is effortless. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's effortless. I've been doing it a long time. I know what I'm talking about. And when you have talent, confidence, no bias, and you're objective and fearless, you're going to win. And that's all we do. So the win is just doing this live. So just remember that I have to remind you, because for anybody's like, Weber's good. Sorry. Sorry you guys don't like it. Too bad. Don't really care. Not all of you guys rock. A lot of you rock. Universal's re-releasing the first Wicked before. Yeah, that's smart. I bet they will. At least for a week or two, be smart. I would agree with that, Luis, that you really would like to see this released again, just to get people back in the mindset. But I think even if they don't, remember, it's a year, okay? It's not multiple. It's not too long. Like, look at Dune 1 and then Dune 2. Dune 1, 2021. Dune 2, 2024. 3 years, okay? This is back-to-back. I think that's less of an issue because everyone remembers the last one. It was just slightly months ago, right? I mean, we were just talking about this for Oscars just a few months ago, 3 months ago, for God's sake. I like Life of Chuck a lot more than you. Late joining. Hiddleston has the Fred Astaire look and presence, very welcome, not often made, wonderful life. Yeah, I mean, again, listen, Rob, I think if you go back and watch the beginning, I think we nailed it. It just doesn't come together as well as it should. I think it can, but it just doesn't quite. There's a few moments. I can't relitigate it, but I'm glad you liked it. And listen, I didn't hate it. Listen, 80's fine. It's not great. 8 out of 10. But remember, I got to be honest. Remember, when I talk about these movies, it's a Richter scale, okay? So you sound like 8 out of 10 is for a lot of people like a masterpiece. No way. And 8 out of 10 is a B minus. I go back to my grading system when I was in school, okay? It was 0 to 100, 50 is an F, 60 is a D, 70 is a C, 80 is a B, 90 is an A. So B minus is okay. It's not great. So don't be saying, that's the thing you have to understand. Once I start going 9, 9.5, 92, 91, 92, 91, 92, once we start going into the 90s, you're talking about a must-see, right? When we're at 90 or higher, you need to see the film. Okay, as I talked about last Sunday with Bring Her Back. We had that at 91 or 92? Was it 90? I think I had 92. But either way, that's up there. Okay, the highest grade we've ever had, I think in the history of this channel, I don't think we ever had 100. A masterpiece would be Tar. I don't think I had a grading system back there on here, but I would have given Tar a 98 at least. So Tar's the best film of the 2020s without question, no contest. A best film of the 2000s is Social Network. That's not a contest either. But Tar's in the top 5. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's top 5. I mean, when you get a score of 98, you're playing, right? We talk about the draft, right? NFL draft quite a bit. I used to love grading players. And this is kind of the mindset I take into these movies. You're grading the film, and you're trying to figure out what strengths and weaknesses it has, just like a draft prospect in the NFL. So when you look at what I see out of a film, if I've got a 91, 92, 93 grade on it, that's a first-round draft pick. And then 95 or higher is a future all-pro, right? When we talk about the NFL. So when I'm talking 95 or higher, then we're talking about, legendary or at least in the realm of a classic film. So it's rare. We're not masterpiece. Like, listen, Life of Chuck, Rob, I'm glad you liked it, but Life of Chuck's not a fucking masterpiece. There's no universe in which this is like a 95. The best score I could see on this would be an 89, maybe a 90 if you're like being generous, but that's the best I could possibly do. Anything above that, no way, no chance. And I'm saying I'm being kind because I don't hate the film. If it's the film it really wants to be, then maybe, but it's not. It just doesn't get there. It just doesn't. I don't know what to say. Maybe I will see Dangerous Animals. I just don't know if why Johnny? Why? I asked for it. But but yeah, I mean, listen, I am very particular about my kits. It is what it is. There's Rachel. Rachel, I don't know about pretentious. I know what you're saying. I think it's trying too hard. That's a difference. Pretentious is I'm so great, which I think we have a lot of that here. So be it. But here's the reality, is that I think that it's a film that is try-hardy, as I like to say, and I don't think that that's ever good. You look at, okay, we just did a whole trailer reaction for Wicked. Did you see any try-hardiness in that? No. Go watch Zach Pope. I don't recommend it. But if you want to, go watch. He's not real. It's fake. It's try-hardy. I'm sure like a trailer reaction on a typical person is them looking off going, oh, and you're like, dude, you're not even real. What are you doing? And I think that so many people have a hard time being real. And certainly when it comes to a trailer reaction, it's like, you're like, what are you doing, dude? Why are you being an idiot? And listen, I've gotten angry, but I don't think I've ever been like, just ridiculous, over the top animated. This film is try-hardy, and I just wish that it weren't quite. And it's saccharine, right? It's overly sweet, and it just maybe needs to smooth it out. I love its heart. I love its heart, guys. I love its heart. I do. I don't know why you hated it though, Rachel. I mean, listen, there's way worse films to hate. Way worse. All right, you get A minus. You're a little high, but you're not like you're just saying. Mike Flanagan's next film is Carrie. Didn't we just have a Carrie remake? like in 2013 or something. I barely remember that film. Do we need to do this again? I don't know. I mean, I want to watch the original things. At least I hadn't seen Life of Chuck before. We've seen versions of it. Wonderful Life. So we talked about Wonder Years narration, all of these things. The universe in your head. What was the Matthew McConaughey movie where he's on the boat and it's all in his head? That's something else. You guys remember that movie from a few years ago? It like destroyed the studio. They put all this money, I think it was like Solstice Studios, and they pumped all this money into that Matthew McConaughey boat movie, and it turned out it was all in his head, and then the whole thing bombed, and then the studio disappeared because they just went bankrupt because it lost them so much money. I think that same studio fronted that last one that was the Ben Affleck movie that was kind of all in his head too. All they make are movies in people's heads. And I'm like, okay, all right, listen, this is how you bankrupt the studio. You say yes to that garbage. So no, do I care about, and I don't want to see another Carrie. What are you going to do to that, right? How many more times do we have to watch the same thing over and over? Let's do our comment closeout. You guys ready for this? Let me pop it up. I'll hit as many as I can here on this Thursday night. I'm going to bring back in tonight's track because it is from, and Rachel will appreciate this, it is from the movie Life of Chuck. It is Wang Chung's Dance Hall Days on this Thursday night. Thanks for being here as we wrap this show up. I'll hit as many comments as possible. If you're on Twitter, you got to go to YouTube, Midnight Movie Talk, and I will hit your comment. I'll do my best. Let's see. Go back to the top. If I missed someone from the top, let's go. Steve, thank you. Appreciate that, buddy. I really do. And you shouldn't not be excited for this film. I don't hate it. I just wish it were more cohesively great. How about that? There's a quote for you. Non-cohesively great. We'll maybe see that. If it's too violent, I don't want to see it. I don't like torture movies, like torture porn. I fucking hate those movies. It's the worst. Mia Sara was the name of the actress from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Thank you. She's still hot. Mia Sara's still smoking hot at whatever age she is. She's a little older than me. She has gray hair here, so she looks older. She looks great. She's still a unit, as they say. Do they still say that? I like it. Okay. Oh, we already got you, Rob. I got you on that. Yeah, we got that. I think I've got everybody here tonight. It's a quiet night here tonight. She's Sean Connery's daughter-in-law. I didn't know that. I didn't know that of Mia Sara. So here's the plan before we get out of here on this Thursday night. I'm back here on Sunday for Midnight Movie Money in the morning, probably about 9 o'clock here in LA. That's noon on the East Coast. Sunday night, we're going to break down a bunch of stuff, box office, in addition to whatever the big news that I didn't get to this week. There's quite a few things, Superman stuff, all this stuff. We'll do that Sunday night. I just want to get to Life of Chuck, talk box office like we always do here on this Thursday, and listen to Wang Chung as they play us out with Dance Hall Days. Live from the City of Angels. Thanks for being here, guys. Always a pleasure. We'll see you back here on Sunday night. Live from LA.
Dance all days.